Welcome to GoSimcha, the podcast that takes you on an in-depth approach to the Jewish music, entertainment, and Simcha world. Now, here's your host, Zeesha Littman. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of GoSimcha, the podcast. We had so much fun recording the episode, but it couldn't have been done without the help of our sponsor, Simchas and Michoels. We're going to take a minute to hear a little bit more about them. The following episode of GoSimcha, the podcast, is proudly sponsored by Simchas and Michoels. Simchas and Michoels was founded over 25 years ago and is based in Brooklyn, New York. KSCVK helps widows, orphans, and people who are in dire need of marrying off a child. Working through their network of vendors, KSCVK ensures that every wedding is just as special as the next. Run by world-renowned party planner Devora Benjamin, KSCVK takes care that each wedding is as elegant as the next one, ensuring dignity and class through every wedding that they put on. To donate to KSCVK, please visit their website, kscvk.org, today. That's kscvk.org, and help make someone's wedding special. Welcome back, everybody, to another wonderful episode of GoSimcha, the podcast. You just heard our intro. It's time for joy. It's time for Simcha. Hear that every single week. Well, now we actually have the pleasure to have the one and only Michoel Pruzansky on our show, the guy behind that song. And it's to his credit, I asked him when we first started the show if I could use that song, his song, as the intro for our show. He gave a bracha. He said, B'simcha. And now 35 episodes in, we got him on the show. So welcome aboard, Michoel. It's a pleasure to have you. I've been chasing you since the beginning. So I think it's time to get down to it and start schmoozing. So what's going on, buddy? How are you?
Hey, how are you? Great to be on the show.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. We got Pruz control here. We're going to roll on Pruz control here, and we're going to just sit and learn a little bit more about you. I have to say, your music is fantastic. You're one of the many Jewish singers out there that can really pull off English music and do it right. How'd that happen? How'd you get involved in, how were you able to pull that one off?
You mean as far as like the English songs, like?
Yeah, because, a lot of people try to do English songs, and some are good, some are not so good. But like your stuff is great. Like when I first started Shooting for the Moon, I didn't believe it was a Jewish song. Like before I even knew who you were, before I knew it was, I'm telling you, I didn't think it was like a Jewish song. It was very inspiring, it was very powerful, very uplifting. And then I found out, I was like, oh wow, this is a Jewish song. Very cool.
Yeah. Well, there's a story about that as well. But actually that song originally wasn't really meant for the Jewish market, but after hearing it, I was like, "Wow, this is a really, really inspirational song." Let me try to put together a little a low part, and then we had a middle, and next thing you know, we had a song. But originally, it wasn't exactly meant for the Jewish market, but I think it's a great song in the Jewish market.
No, for sure. So you say it wasn't meant for the Jewish market. What does that mean? You write music for other people?
No. The composer, he kind of had it for a different genre. He wasn't thinking about Jewish music. He was thinking maybe using it as a commercial of some sort. And then when I heard it, I'm like, no. This song's got to be on my album. It's a great, inspirational, feel-good song.
No, that's really cool.
Yeah. So that's what happened. So we got that song, and thank God, it's people really love it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. So going back probably however long it was, how did you get started in the music business? Because it seems like you've been around for a while. You got 5 albums out there. You're pretty popular. How did this all begin? How did you get started in music?
Well, I'm singing since I'm a little kid. I joined Miami Boys Choir when I was like, 12, 13. And after that, of course, I felt I had a real chush for singing. And I was singing at weddings and everything. And then I met Yochi Briskman, and we decided to do an album together. And that was back in 2003. And here we are.
Wow. That's pretty cool. Yeah, we actually had last week, we had Dovi Shapiro on, former Miami Boys Choir alumni as well, and he was pretty entertaining. But that's cool. So you started in the choirs, you moved your way up, did weddings, and now you're doing this. You're doing this full time. This is like a full time gig. Like you're one of these guys out there who's doing this every single night, or you got a real job.
Yeah, no, this is what I do. This is what I do, and I love it. I have a passion for it. I love it. I like making people happy. Baruch Hashem.
That's great. We talk about this a lot on the show that sometimes, even though you have a passion for it and you guys are really, really good at it, sometimes in the Jewish world, it's not necessarily your full-time parnassa. But then we have people who come on our show who actually, this is a full-time parnassa, and it's really, truly amazing to see that you're able to do this. Now, I was talking about your English music before. How did you find that knack for it? Because like I said, I've heard a lot of guys try to put out English songs. Sometimes it sounds good, sometimes it doesn't. But like your stuff just sounds like so like real, like so good. I'll
tell you, I mean, I have a knack for putting down English songs. There's a way to put down a song, especially an English song. You have to put it down when you record it. You have to put it down a certain way. And my first English song was called "You're Watching Me," and I heard it on Pesach from Rabbi Yisachar Fran. It was just an amazing, inspirational story, and I was so inspired by that story that I decided to make a song out of it, and it was a pretty big hit. "You're Watching Me."
Wow. And then it just kind of took off from there. Like your style and your knack for all these types of things just kind of flowed with it. I see.
I mean, I grew up listening to MBD, so I'm a big MBD fan, and he puts down an English song quite well, as you know.
Right.
I have a knack for it, and I should definitely do some more. You reminded me now. I should definitely do some more English songs in the future because people love it. It gives them a lot of inspiration and chizuk.
Right, because when people hear something in their own language, even though like most people know Hebrew, understand the psukim to a certain degree, it's good to hear these types of things in English, especially if it's brought out right, because it does give a lot of chizuk to people. It brings people to a higher place. It makes you feel good. Makes you really feel that music. And I think it's good what you do.
I agree with you. I have a new single coming out, and it's called Chozer Elecha. It's in Ivrit, but it's going to be a lyric video, and my plan is to put not just the Hebrew lyrics, but also the English lyrics bouncing around the screen so people know what it means, so they could translate it and feel what it means.
Wow, that's really smart and really, really cool. And that way people will be able to really connect with the song.
So now we're going to take a quick moment to hear a word from our sponsors.
We've come to the time of year again. It's the 2019 Ura auction with prizes much bigger than before. Just you wait, see what we have in store. Sold tickets to Israel, a big fat check, and the shade-on jewels to put on your neck. Pay your rent, get a car, let us clear your debt. Go relax and win some weekly cash. We'll cover your tuition bill and maybe give you a new van. We'll send you on a trip nearby or to the Holy Land. Shop online or in New York, you'll get a great big shopping spree. Or $50,000 you can take home instantly. It's easy to enter, just call us or go online. Just make sure you do it before you run out of time. More than $600,000 in prizes, only $5 a prize. Enter now at uraauction.org or call 1-877-7-AUCTION.
Music, it's all about connecting with the music. I happen to be a musician myself. I play a number of different instruments. I used to write music. And that's part of the reason I love doing this show, is because I know how I get to connect with you guys on this type of level. I don't know, you probably do interviews with other people and they talk about your album, things like that. But like, I find that when we talk with people, with our guests, like I'm able to connect with you guys on a musical level. And I think that's really smart what you're doing, because you're able to take that song and bring it down to the level of people listening to you. And it'll bring tremendous chizuk, it'll bring tremendous positivity, and yeah.
Oh yeah, you have no idea how many people have come over to me over the years about "You're Watching Me" or the song "Show Me the Way." There's literally so many people with so many different stories and backgrounds, how it helped them and inspired them. So it's a good schuss.
Nice. So what's with all the nicknames? You seem to have a lot of nicknames.
Well, the last one I didn't use the nickname. The last one was Shooting for the Moon, no nickname. But till then we had a lot of nicknames. Yeah, till then we had a lot of nicknames. The first one was Ashrecha, no nickname. Then came Pruz, which we thought was pretty nifty because it was the year of Shemitah.
Right.
And so we came up with the Pruz, and we thought that was a nifty idea. Then came the MP3 idea. We kept on the Michoel Pruzansky MP3 idea, and then the Pruz Control. After that was the fourth album. By the fifth album, we said enough with the nicknames, and we went to Shooting for the Moon.
Shooting for the Moon. Yeah, Pruz. That you go back to normal, I suppose. But now you're like the Shaquille O'Neal of Jewish singers. Shaquille O'Neal has many different nicknames. You're like the Shaq of Jewish music over here.
Thank you. I'll take it as a compliment. Thank you.
Fair enough, man. So back to Shooting for the Moon. Like I've listened to the album a number of times. I know it's technically your most recent one, but it has a lot of great musical components to it. And I was listening to it today for I don't know what number of time it was, but every time I listened to each track, it said something. It brought out a different message to me, and I found that the way it was composed, the way everything was put together, and the types of songs you had on there were just really, really cool and really, really, really well put together. So first of all, why did you call it Shooting for the Moon? Why was that the title track?
Well, like I mentioned before, after I heard that song "Shooting for the Moon" by Eli Schwab,
right,
and I was really blown away by the song and the feel and the idea of the words, and I said, that's the title track. It's an inspirational, confident song. Just to name it another, Ashrecha or whatever. I thought "Shooting for the Moon" would be the title track. And I think it really went its mark.
Nice. When I I don't know how I stumbled upon your music. It was when I first was starting the podcast, when I was in the process of getting everything ready to go and starting the podcast. I don't know how I stumbled upon your music, but then I heard Bou Nirkod, and I was like, oh my gosh, this song hit. This is it. This is the theme song. I was looking for a theme song for our intro, and I was like, this is it. And I remember that's when I contacted you, and I was like, hey, can I use your song for my intro? Because it totally screamed what we're doing. It's time for joy. It's time for Simcha. And I fell in love with that song. I used to put it on every single day. And then now people get to hear it every single week. So it's pretty cool. What was up with that song?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you. Actually, definitely second place for naming the title would have been Bou Nirkod. But we decided to go Shooting for the Moon. But Bou Nirkod we knew would be a big hit song. It's got a great feel.
Yeah.
Great arrangement. Time for joy. Time for Simcha. And that was composed by the Israeli duo Yitzi Berry and Eli Klein. And they're really talented guys. And the arrangement came out just great. And people have been playing it DJ by a lot of Simchas, a lot of weddings. People have been playing it. Very popular as a DJ song. Very popular.
It just gets you out. It just makes you want to dance. It's exactly what it's called. It's exactly what it's called. And like I said, it really popped in my head. I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be the theme song for our show. And Kanahara, we're going.
Yeah, it does make you dance, and it's got a great following, and people are playing it all over the world. I've seen clips of it all over the world, in Israel as well. So
that's awesome.
Thank God. Yeah, thank God.
That's really awesome. It's you said it was composed by the Israelis. It really has an Israeli a very Israeli sound to it. In certain parts of the track, it has a very Israeli sound to it, which is cool. And it's like I said, it's good dance music, gets you out of your seat, and everything like that. So kudos to you, my friend. Kudos to you. What were some of the other tracks that you liked on the album? What was some of the other stuff that you enjoyed? I mean, I'm sure you liked all of them. Obviously, you're gonna say you liked all of them.
Right. Right. Well, that's true. Otherwise, I went to pick them. But once we're talking about Ellie Klein and Yitzi Berry, they made a song called Kol Mevakesh, which is really a beautiful. It's like what we call an umpa song. It's between slow and fast, and it's I like the words. You know, whoever is in need of something and he davens for someone else who has the same problem, that person that davens first will be answered first. You know,
right.
So I thought that was a beautiful song, and it is a beautiful song. Kol Mevakesh. Listen, I had quite a few different composers on that. Yitzi Waldner, Yochanan Shapiro. So we had quite a the usual crew of
Right.
good composers and good arrangers. We had Jan and
He's cool. He was a guest on our show.
Yeah, you're right. Is that right?
Yeah. We had him on the show, and he brought some great insight into the back end of the whole music business. The guy's a genius. The guy's he's
unbelievable. He arranged every big song. He arranged every big song. I mean, he's super talented guy.
For sure. So I noticed that you like doing videos. You have a couple music videos out there. They look pretty cool. Look pretty fun. What was your favorite? What was your favorite video to do? I mean, you had Shooting for the Moon. You had another one with magical glasses. What was your favorite? What was your favorite video to do?
Well, I was one of the earlier ones really to do music videos before it became more popular. I had a video Taseh Mitzvah.
Right.
And that was back in 2007. So there weren't that many videos back then. So I definitely get a kick out of doing these videos. A lot of fun, and it gives some nice, good, kosher entertainment for everybody as well. It's hard to say. Some of them were serious, like You're Watching Me, the 9/11 video. Some of the videos make them cry, some of the videos make you laugh, and that's the idea.
Nice. How long have you been doing this? How long have you been in the music business for? You said your video went back to 2007. How long have you been doing this for?
Yeah, so no, that first album with Yochi Rism was 2003.
Wow.
So that 2003 is when I came out my first album, and of course I've seen it professionally way before that. So I'm doing it quite a while.
Wow. That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. Good for you. Good for you. You're doing what you love. Do you actually play any instruments, or you're just a singer? Because I know some of these guys.
No.
Some of these guys we talk to, they're just singers. Some of them are composed. Some of them also play instruments. You don't play any instruments?
No, I dabble in guitar, but never really sat on it long enough. So I decided, just keep it to the professionals, and I just do the singing, which I love.
Do what you're good at.
Yeah, we do shows, of course, also doing quite a few Pesach shows, Hanukkah shows and Sukkot shows, of course. So between shows and weddings and bar mitzvahs, quite busy.
Nice. What's that like? I mean, to be able to be booked for Pesach shows, to go to these hotels and do shows and things like that. What's that like? Because I know a lot of your contemporaries and a lot of the guys we had on the show, like they also they get booked for hotels and they get sent around. They go to all these different places. It must be crazy,
Well, it's a lot getting around town, going from one place to the other. You gotta finish one show, and then sometimes you could do 2 shows in one night, and sometimes you could do 3 shows in a day. If you do an afternoon show and then an evening and then a night show, so it does get crazy. But that's the time that there's great demand for singers. So you do what you got to do.
Oh, for sure. But I'm saying, have you ever been brought on to one of these hotels, one of these big old Pesach programs?
Many years. I'm doing it many years. Yeah, many years. I don't remember too many Pesachs at home. To tell you the truth.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's got to be nuts too, you know. Like you got to fly out to all these different places and perform for people over Pesach when you're trying to like enjoy.
It's hard. It's hard when you're traveling and you're singing. It's not easy. It's not easy, and you got to keep your voice up. You know. Same thing davening Rosh Hashanah Kippur. You know, you daven Rosh Hashanah Kippur and you have gigs before it. You know, you got to always keep your voice in good shape.
Wow. Well, listen, you know, this is the life of a singer. You know, you always got to constantly keep your voice straight. You got to keep yourself up, like well maintained, so that, you know, something doesn't chas v'shalom happen. What's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you in your career?
Let me think about that one. There's a few close ones. I remember one wedding where the chazan and kala were about to come out for the first dance, and the one-man band, he lost power to his keyboard.
Oh.
And you know, at the stall and twining electric wires together.
Oh.
It was a little scary, touch and go, but we got it on, and everything was good. But, you know, there's always pressure stories like that come up. Always, you know, pressure stories that can come up. And you have to know how to juggle.
Here.
Yeah, and another time, a similar thing, the power went off in the middle of a small concert.
Oh, wow.
And I start talking to them. Show must go on. I start talking to them and think stories, you know. The show must go on. So, yeah.
Story time with Pruz control.
If need be.
That's cool. So I recently saw a video of yours on YouTube. You're sitting down with a dude with a big beard eating some cholent. What was up with that? How was that for you? What was that experience like?
That was a riot. That's probably the most fun I had filming a video. Because this guy from Crackpot is really funny, and I had to keep a straight face on and a lot of acting so that I wouldn't burst down in laughter. And that was a lot of fun. I must say, that was a lot of fun. It brought back my camp days.
The camp days? What do you mean?
Well, in camp, I did a lot of acting. You know, besides singing in camp, I did a lot of acting, and this was, you know, this was a humorous comedy skit. Of course, I was a straight man, but I had a good time doing it. I really had a good time. In case they don't know, it's Crackpot version 3.
That's funny. Was the cholent good? Be honest.
The cholent was okay.
Yeah.
The cholent was okay, but you know, having the kishka, Milmar kishka thrown at my head was, you know, threw me off keel a little bit.
That's funny. Was it Thursday? Was it Thursday cholent or was it regular weekday cholent? Because, you know, some people just can't eat cholent like anytime past Thursday and not Thursday, Friday, Shabbos. Cholent's good. Anytime before that.
I live in Flatbush, so
cholent every day.
Cholent every night of the week. There's no problem.
Oh God. All right, fair enough. No, I'm from out of town. I'm from Detroit. We generally don't.
Just Thursday night. Just Thursday nights or just Shabbos itself?
Thursday night. We're Thursday night cholent people. Nothing crazy.
That's good.
Nothing crazy.
That's good. You should expand.
I should definitely expand. All right, fair enough. So it's funny. Like, I know it's silly to ask the question, but usually on the show we always have this running debate with our guests, like, what do you prefer, albums or singles? Because a lot of people nowadays are putting out singles, but as we can see from you, you've put out 5 albums. So I definitely take it that you're a big fan of albums, more so than singles. But you did mention something about a new single coming out. So what's your take on the whole thing in general? Well,
albums, of course, in the past is the only way to go, but now because everything is streaming, you know, Apple Music and Spotify and YouTube. So singles now are the way to go because physically there's less and less CDs in the market. You know, so I think where you used to see a lot of albums, you'll be seeing more and more singles coming out.
Right. No, I personally like albums. I find that each album tells a story. Each song in the album tells a different. The album is like a whole story, and each song and each is a different part of the story. And I find that even though they say some people listen to certain tracks and the rest of it's filler. I don't personally believe that. I think that every track on every album is special and adds to the whole thing. But you're right, with streaming services and everything like that nowadays, it's just crazy and less CDs in the store. So how do you guys deal with that? Meaning everything's more or less free and available online.
There is a benefit. Number one, singles will come out faster because many times a CD takes 2 years to put out.
Right.
So you can get a single out much faster. And perhaps more music videos, because singles will be coming out with more music videos, because a single without a music video doesn't really fly so well. So
right.
I think you'll be seeing in the future, much more singles, lyric videos, or videos. There'll still be albums, but I think we'll see much more of that.
Lyric videos seem to be in now. It seems like a lot of people are doing lyric videos now. Like Shwekey's done one, Art Goldwag does them. Like I see a lot of those popping up nowadays. And now you're about to do one.
Yeah, the beauty about a lyric video is they can come out very quickly. So
right.
So if you have the audio done, all you need is a good graphics guy to add the graphics to the lyric video, and you can get it out. Whereas a full-fledged music video, you need a production team, you need a writing team, so there's a lot more to it.
Oh, I know. When I was younger, I'm not so old. I'm 29, but I used to do video production. I used to do full-fledged video production, so I know how it works. It takes time. You got to get everything in place, everything going on, and then you got to edit it, and then you got to put it's a whole voda. But I hear that, and it's cool because people can connect with it. And the whole point of what you're doing is to be able to connect people. And that's like, with everybody's music, everyone has a different style of music. And I like your music. I find it very positive, very uplifting, very upbeat. Even like your slower songs, they're still very positive. And I think it really shows. And now talking with you, like I can see it in your personality. You're a very positive, upbeat person. And
thank you.
It shows in your music. So
I always say, when I write these songs, they're not just for the public, but they're for me too. And I always try to put positive messages, and it's good for everyone. It's good for everyone.
No, for sure. I mean, that's what it's all about. But like I was saying before with the streaming music, like how do you guys as the singers and like deal with it? Because most of it's like anyways free, right? So how do you people still to buy your
streaming
stuff?
Music, iTunes still pays for streaming music. They still pay. They just don't pay as much.
Right.
They won't pay as much as buying an album. But we have online distributors. So every Spotify, every Apple Music, Amazon Music, it all turns into some dollars and cents at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So it's still monetized. It's just not as big as it was before with albums, $10 and $15. Yeah.
Right. Now I hear that.
But like anything else, the world's always changing and technology is always changing, and you got to just keep up with it.
Right. No. 100%. You got to be on top of that game in order to be able to keep staying afloat in the music business, because like the Jewish music world is not like the secular music world, where when you put out an album, they're basically financing your album in hopes that you're going to sell them. Here, you guys are putting out money to create the albums, to create the singles, to do everything, and then you're trying to put them on the shelves and make sure people are buying the CDs. But sometimes people get to it before the album's even released. I forgot who we had on the show. I think it was Koni Malecki. He was saying like he gets people telling him in the Telegram and the WhatsApp chats that they heard his songs before they heard the whole album before it even hit the stores.
Yeah, that's sad and painful, because you put in so much money and so much time and effort. You really don't want that to happen.
Right. No, it's insane.
Yeah, unfortunately, there is a lot of that out there, which is rough. But then there's a lot of people who like to buy, iTunes, and they buy it legitimately, which we appreciate, by the way, to all your listeners. And that helps pay back the huge expense of putting together this giant collaboration.
Right. No, for sure. It's insane. Like Yoni Z and I were talking about this when Yoni was on our show. He was talking about this also. He's a very, very big believer in paying for music. Obviously, I mean, it's his parnasa, but like it's just sad that when the people go out there and think that they can take it and get these things before it even hits the shelves and listen to it and send it around, before you know it, like everyone and their mother has their album, and you don't make a dime off of it.
It's a problem, but now in the singles world, the digital world of lyric videos and singles, it won't matter as much. You know what I'm saying? Right.
I hear that.
So that's what things are always changing. Things are always changing. Good. But definitely, as soon as I get my single ready, I'd love to send it to you, sure. and hear your take on it.
By all means, please feel free, send it over. Big fan. And so that's really your main project right now. Like I was gonna say, what other stuff are you working on? It seems like this is what your main focus on right now.
Yeah, right now that's what I'm working on at the moment. Maybe another music video to come. I didn't start it yet, but I would like to. And keeping busy with the gigs. That's what we do.
Good. How busy? How often do you do a wedding?
It could be very busy. Now we're getting close to June, and June you could be busy every night.
Wow.
We're talking about keeping your voice up in shape. It's definitely a lot of abuse. Baruch Hashem. So far, we've been hanging in there.
Good. You ever like go days without talking just to make sure your voice is okay? Like you ever just be like, I'm just not gonna talk today, and try to make sure your vocal cords are healing there? Because it seems like you are pretty.
Not really. Not really like that, but if it's obviously a gig after a gig, I won't talk as much, or I'll talk lower, But I never do one of those tiniest D-words to protect my voice type of thing.
You're not that from. You're not so from. You don't do a tiniest D-word over there. That's
maybe good. One day. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. But yeah, it's true. It is coming up. It's busy. It's busy season for you, for all the wedding singers out there. And it's like, what's the craziest thing you've ever done? Like, what's the craziest schedule you ever had? Like, how many weddings have you done back to back? And
I'm gonna say there's sometimes in June where you could do Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Wow,
that's a lot. That's a lot.
Wow.
You don't want to be Thursday night's wedding. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, it's taxing. But you, like everyone else, you do what you got to do.
For sure. You ever travel outside? Do people ever book you outside of New York, the New York area, or you're more of a local guy?
Oh, sure. I've gone everywhere. All across the United States, of course, all the big cities, and Canada, of course. I've been to Europe, so I get around, and
that's great.
Always fun to go out of town.
That's great.
Yeah.
What's your favorite song that you've ever performed live?
That's a good one. I like to break that down usually into slow or fast. I would say slow is one of my English songs, either like You're Watching Me or Show Me the Way. Definitely. Hard to narrow it down. Because I had some other Hebrew songs like Yerushalayim Harim Savavla, an Ari Goldwag composition. And fast, Steigen die Torah, which was on my Pruz album. I can't narrow it down to one. Hard to narrow it down to one, but I definitely have my favorites.
Nice. What about Shooting for the Moon? You like doing that one live?
yeah, when I do Shooting for the Moon, I mean, a lot of kids are asking for it today. So I just did that at Bar Mitzvah like the other night, and the kids are asking for it. So we give it to them. They like it. It's inspirational.
That's great. Wow. Well, I have to say it was a pleasure having you on the show. I finally got you, and it's cool that you're working on all these new projects. You're busy, Baruch Hashem. You know, it's a skit that I get to have your song as my intro to my show, and I'll say it again. It's awesome. It's fun.
I appreciate
and
it.
we finally got you here to talk about your musical career, your life, what's going on with you, and you know. You're doing good things, and I'm a big fan of your music, and I wish you tremendous hatzlacha in the future with this. You keep steiging, man. Keep doing your thing, and I look forward to hearing the single when it comes out. So please, by all means, send it over to me. Let me love to hear it. Love to see what's going on with it. And again, I thank you so much for joining us on the episode this week.
Got it. You got it. God willing, be on the show again soon.
Yeah, looking forward. All right, it's a pleasure, and I'll catch you later. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
You've just listened to another wonderful episode of GoSimcha the podcast. For more news, updates, and information on our next episode, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram at GoSimcha Live, and don't forget to check out the show notes and videos on www.gosimcha.com along with zeradio.com. Thanks for listening, and remember, Go Simcha!